Welcome to Venatrix AI YouTube channel. This is a bone-chilling horror story about a boy stuck at an Antarctic research base experiencing unusual and terrifying events. The icy winds howled like banshees outside the aluminum walls of the research outpost. Dalton pressed his hands over his ears, trying in vain to block out the deafening shrieks. Every sound, every creak and groan of the facility seemed amplified by 1,000 in the vast, empty darkness of Antarctica. Just 2 weeks earlier, the 16-year-old had been back in Minnesota, worried about finals and getting his driver's license. How had he ended up trapped alone at this godforsaken base at the bottom of the world? His dad's research crew had been evacuated 3 days ago when a freak blizzard broke all communications with their main camp. The skies had cleared, but the radios remained silent. No word from the crew, no rescue planes. His father and the rest of the team must have gotten stranded out on the glaciers. Dalton's breath frosted the air as he gripped his father's polar expedition journal with trembling hands. The older scientists had tried to prepare him mentally, but he'd dismissed their warnings about Antarctic madness as mere superstition. He turned the weathered pages now, his eyes going wide at the scribbled entries. Heard singing in the caverns today, eerie harmonies drifting through the ice, like a choir of whales, but distorted, unnatural. Voston wants to go explore the caverns, try to find the source. I urged him not to. The noises feel malevolent somehow. Voston is missing. The others won't admit it, but I can see the fear in their eyes. We're going to evacuate at first light. A thunderous boom shook the outpost, causing Dalton to leap out of his chair with a cry of terror. Something heavy pounded against the outer airlock doors. He scrambled backwards, hands clawing at the floor, as another deafening impact made the entire facility shudder. Hello? He squeaked out the word, hating how his voice quivered with fear. Who's out there? The blows came in a furious volley now, each one strong enough to dent the reinforced doors. Something powerful, massive, was trying to break its way inside. Dalton's eyes darted around the small quarters, frantic thoughts spinning. If it was a polar bear, there was no way the doors would keep it out for long. His gaze finally settled on the rack of industrial ice corers, plastic tubes filled with blazing hot thermite used to rapidly melt through glacier ice. He fumbled with trembling hands, grabbing a core and yanking the safety pin free. Just as the airlock started to buckle inward, Dalton hurled the thermite tube at the entrance with a scream. It struck the distorted bulge of metal and detonated in a blinding eruption of sparks. Searing droplets of molten thermite sprayed in all directions as the unleashed temperature within burned at over 4,000 degrees F. The inhuman shrieks that followed made Dalton clap his hands over his ears again, his entire body shaking with terror. He cowered in the corner, squeezing his eyes shut, until the unearthly howls of agony finally faded. When he opened his eyes once more, all that remained visible through the pocked holes in the airlock was a swiftly refreezing puddle of viscous, bluish something. As the icy winds howled, the puddle glistened with bioluminescent flecks and tendrils that seemed to reach and grasp in tormented slow motion before flash-freezing solid. Dalton began to sob, deep, gasping wails. Maybe it was the crushing isolation finally breaking his sanity. Or perhaps it was the creeping revelation that those warnings about Antarctic evil had not been mere superstition after all. All he knew was that as the blizzard storm came screaming back with renewed ferocity outside, he would be too haunted by nightmares to ever find sleep again. Whatever monstrosity had tried to break through the airlock, he knew with certainty that it was still out there in the endless wastes, waiting, watching, patient as the endless Antarctic night itself. If you liked this story, then don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Have a good time, and goodbye.